Huzzah, Rangers. This is Phil Harris again with you at the Jacks Rangers show. I've got my buddy Dave from Yeti Poet Rugby here as well. We're going to be
Hello.
going over actually four segments for this podcast, this interview here. So want to get right into it with you, Dave. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me back. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's nice to have a win, right?
Absolutely. It was a fun week to be a Free Jacks fan.
Absolutely. It was so beautiful to watch and so happy for him. I actually recorded the podcast, the first part of this one after the win. So I was really jazzed up. I was tired, but really happy. So hopefully that'll convey that the happy part, at least on the episode for the podcast. All right, getting into Free Jacks news here. The new mystery video was released prior to this recording. There was some blue fur in a previous video that we saw where someone was running through the woods or stumbling around through the woods there. And now we've got the Free Jacks investigators. We've got the
special unit.
Yeah. Special unit investigating paranormal activity, apparently. Some type of, what is it?
A cryptid?
Yes.
Some sort of creature. Yeah. A cryptozoological entity.
That's it. Yep. There you go.
Yeah. We don't know what it is. Credit to you. I think your guess is correct. Do you want to be the one to spill it?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think it is?
I think it's the mascot. We've been waiting for one for a while here. I mean, they've had flirtations with a horse, the stuffed one, and then we've had a live one at the game. But I think this is going to be one in the style of Rucky in Seattle. Shout out to Rucky. Rucky was actually the first person who messaged me on Instagram when I created my account. Oddly enough,
that is something.
It is something. It's great that he can, spell and stuff. So
credit to him. That's not easy to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just wanted to ask you, what do you think the mascot will look like? Do you think it's going to be a horse, or are they going to go with something else?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of horse imagery around the team. I think probably, I'm not a marketing guy, but that's probably the strongest branding that you could do as a horse. It's iconic. The other thought I had is with the flannels, they've got a little bit of a lumberjack vibe. So there's possible that it really could be like a Bigfoot, a Jack Squatch, I think Mags called it in his part of the video. Maybe that direction. So I guess I'm big on hedging my bets. So horse or Sasquatch.
Yeah, the setting is in the woods. They had a footprint that they showed, a big one.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Bigfoot type of creature, but I would really love for it to be like a Philly fanatic type of just weird. You don't know what it is, and they're just like mischievous and like crazy. Like what is it? The name of the Flyers mascot? Gritty. Yeah,
Gritty. Gritty.
A carbon copy of Gritty, but just like blue would be fantastic.
Yeah, get it from the same people. Somebody made that, Gritty costume. You got to be able to track them down. We want the exact same thing in blue. Mm-hmm. That would be a lot of fun. I hope it's a horse for the sake of my daughter, because she's 8 years old and she loves horses, and for my sake as well, because if they get a horse mascot, she's in. She's hooked. She's going to be as interested as I am. So if it's a horse, I'll be very pleased.
Interesting to know. Here's a random fact. Philip is Greek for lover of horses. So how about that?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So just the theme around this little segment here is that the social media for the Free Jacks is on point, man.
They are really effective.
Yeah, the Between the Two Lanterns that they released was hilarious, with Mags and that guy that they had on there, Jack Salad Baracas.
Salad Baracas, yeah. Clearly a real name.
Yes. Whoever the actor is for them, they got to do that. It was fantastic. Yeah, I think he worked at the front office, is my guess, but he should be doing some acting somewhere in LA.
It was very good. And they were very true to the Between Two Ferns, original. The tone was spot on. And I mean, they've really dragged Mags a little bit. It was good. It was good writing. There was some nice digs. You get to talk to interesting people on your podcast. Yeah, I do. What's that like?
And then he's just like noisily trying to open up a Tic Tac.
Yeah, they don't make the hole big enough.
It's so funny, man.
It was very good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Here's a little random question for you. What is your favorite iteration of our jersey?
Ooh. I like our just classic hoop jersey. I am a history nerd. I am big on the classics,
Mhm.
and the hoops and the collar I think look just dynamite. And I think people agree too.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen a lot of talk on social media, kind of in the international rugby community. Everybody loves talking about jerseys,
Yes.
and I think the consensus has been that the Free Jacks have the best jersey in MLR
Yeah, I mean,
with that hoop collar jersey specifically.
for sure. And we've seen a lot of praise, and I think some copycats. Didn't Toronto add a collar to their jersey this year? If I
I believe that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So final thing here in the Free Jacks news, not really, well, it is kind of Free Jacks related, sort of. Our buddies over there, our Irish cousins at the Three Bod Rugby Group, had a Dragon Balls episode. So it's a Welsh-centric episode that they did over there. Can you think of a single Welsh player in MLR? There's not one on the Free Jacks, but is there a single
Hmm.
Welsh player in MLR? I can't think of a single one.
Nobody comes to mind. Nor is there a Welsh connection. Scotland has bought into Old Glory DC.
Right.
And then there's been some investment from uh, private teams into some teams. Seattle got bought into, I believe. Is that the Crusaders group that bought into? I think Crusaders bought into somebody.
I don't recall that, but I remember that one of the ownership groups for New Jersey was New Zealand, I believe. There were some New Zealand gentlemen.
Okay,
Yep.
that makes sense.
Mhm. But yeah, how
I can't
wild.
think of any. I can't think of any Welshmen though. That's a good observation.
Yeah, we've got Irish, we've got English, we've got Scottish, we've got Australian, we've got South African, we've got New Zealand, but
Yeah,
no Welsh players in the MLR. That's wild.
yeah. I'm
All
gonna
right,
try. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna poke around and ask a couple people if they can think of anybody. Because that's a good question.
it's pretty interesting. So
If
moving, go ahead.
if there's one, Steve Lewis, the GM, I believe, from New York, will know.
Hmm.
And I think I have an avenue to ask him. So I'll see if I can figure it out.
Yeah, let's find out. That's a little homework for you, Dave. We'll find out
Yeah.
next episode. All right, so on to rapid reactions from scores around the league here. Obviously, we're going to skip over the first one that was our Free Jacks against San Diego. We'll get to that one later on. Old Glory DC against LA, 17-47, 30-point differential there for LA winning that game. Here's what I wrote down. Try of the week from the LA loosehead prop, JP Smith kicking the ball. I mean, are they having fun or what? Wild.
Yeah, you love to see it. There's an old, not too old, but 20 plus years old coaching book called Total Rugby about how what you really want is all 15 players able to do every job, and that's when you're really going to unlock Total Rugby. Everybody should be playing Total Rugby.
Huh.
And a lot of teams play that way, not that your fullback needs to be able to prop, but that your prop needs to be able to make an offload, make a 10-meter pass, and your fullback needs to ruck, all those things. And that's some Total Rugby on LA. That they're really doing it.
Jeez.
It's cool. I'm really glad for that match. My note is that I'm glad that John Ryberg is kind of coming into form a little bit. The wing for LA.
Right.
Power runners are always fun to watch, especially a back who runs hard. And his mom is adorable on social media.
Oh, that's
And
cute.
Mother's Day is coming up, so for
Yeah.
all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day. Rona McCusker's mom, also adorable on social media.
Yeah.
It's genuinely wholesome to see these players' moms posting and talking and wishing them well and being excited for their kids. And you just think of all the work that they've put in, and and all the love that they've poured into those guys to help them become athletes. So great job, moms. Great job, John Ryberg
Yeah. Very
and
nice.
company.
9 line breaks and 7 tries in for LA in that game.
Yeah, when you get through, you just score. When you have support game like they do, I guess. And when you score that much, you don't need to run through that many phases, so you don't even need to break the line that many times.
Yep.
You just get it and score.
I've got 2 sticky notes for our Toronto Arrows versus NOLA Gold. 14 to Toronto, and NOLA had 22. So in this game, let's see here. What I wrote down. Um, Manuel Montero, second most tries in the MLR. Let's see here. Tale of two halves in this game. There's actually a kind of a theme around this. Let's see. The South African, or yes, South Americans in Toronto. How is that connection? Where did that come from? Do you know?
I don't know what the seed was. I think that a lot of the time, once you get somebody in there talking about good culture and a good time, you can really kind of get a chain of people who suddenly are interested. See that a little bit with LA and Australia, I think, like once it gets rolling. Of course, they have an Australian owner, so that connection is a little more obvious.
Right.
But I think that it's functioning that way with Argentina, a little bit on Toronto. And those are two pretty good American rugby sides, Canada and Argentina. When you can kind of leverage both of those connections, the Canada connection's obvious for Toronto. They're the only Canadian team in the comp. So they're doing something well. I said, I wrote a note about Matero as well. I said, nightmare to tackle.
Yeah,
I mean, the kind of guy who can beat you anyway. He can outrun you. He can run through you. He can step you. And he can get low and make sure that the first thing you get to taste is a shoulder,
We're bragging about Toronto here, but NOLA really stole the show in the second half. 22 unanswered points. And that, the last 20 minutes there, I mean, that's considered, championship time. And they really showed up big time to win that game, to steal that game, if you want to say that, from Toronto.
Yeah, their pack in particular did really well, generated a scrum penalty right on the 5-meter line that helped kind of arrest some of the momentum that Toronto had put together. And that was really the pivotal turning point. After that, they just took over. So credit to their forwards in particular for putting together a really good game.
I guess NOLA wasn't listening to our praise of Toronto for overcoming the COVID issues and being away from home. They just said, to heck with that. We're just going to beat them anyway.
Yeah, for some reason they weren't following our script.
Right. So for the last game of the weekend, before we get to the Free Jacks, of course, was Rugby United New Jersey against the Seawolves, and that was a 23-21 win over Seattle. What I wrote down here, we've got New York scores 17 unanswered points to win, frowny face, and I put that on there. Seattle missed a kick at the death to lose. Yikes. At home, too. What a heartbreaker.
Yeah, that is really, really rough. Some sad fans at Starfire Stadium. New York kind of outgridded them a little bit. Easy to fold when you go down like that. New York's not having the greatest season either. But they pulled it out. Hope in Seattle's turning a corner. They definitely have something to prove that the first couple championships were not just an oddity. So I wish them well. I can always root for an underdog, and they're suddenly underdogs.
Rucky the Seawolf, we feel for you, buddy. You can send me a message, and I'll try to console you. All right, Seattle was up 21-6 at the half. So again, another game of a tale of two halves.
Yep.
New Jersey woke up and showed up in the second half there and beat Seattle at the death. You hate to see it happen on a last-second kick though, at home for them. So sorry guys, maybe next week, whoever you're playing. Here we go. So we're through with the reactions around the league. I'm going to try to share this screen here for our visual folks. Oh boy. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so can you see this, Dave?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Oh, look what it's on right now. It just happens to be on the Free Jacks, or excuse me, the jacksrangers.com website here. So guys, if you want to check this out, this is brand new. I made this myself. I'm sure it looks that way, but yeah, put a lot of love in this bad boy. Oh, look at this handsome fella right here.
Well done.
Yeah. So yeah, check this out, guys. jacksrangers.com. You will have the episodes on here each time that they are uploaded. You can listen now through Spotify. Spotify was really cool and put us immediately into their little network there for the podcasts as soon as I posted it. So it was available. All these other ones, I'm having to kind of jump through hoops to put them on there. But what I wanted to show you is the standings here. So here we have the updated standings for the Eastern Conference, of course. Who cares about the West at this point? Because the LA's running away with it anyway. But we've got New Jersey up here at 19 points, tied with NOLA And then looky here, it's pretty interesting. We've got 3 teams with 16 points. I don't know if you can see me, with my mouse there, but
Yep.
3 through 5. I mean, it's really the whole thing is wide open here, Dave. I mean, Old Glory DC at the bottom here with 13 points, but everything is within reach.
Absolutely. I mean, you have New York on top with 19, tied with NOLA, and then Toronto, New England, and Atlanta all with 16. Old Glory DC in last place with just 13, but that's where we were last week. They
Right.
are anybody could advance. A 5-point win for any of the teams in 3rd through 5th puts them into 1st potentially.
Yeah.
So, and that's competition points, of course. So 4 points for winning a match, and then a bonus point for 4 tries.
Yep, and all that information is right there. So
Yep.
going over to the schedule here, we've got this is the upcoming matches this weekend. We've got Houston SaberCats at NOLA Gold. And then we've got the Jabronis here from Austin against our Free Jacks at 4 p.m. on Saturday, May the 8th at Union Point Stadium, the beautiful Union Point Stadium.
I will be there in the flesh.
Yes, sir. Me too. So we'll probably, I know for sure that I'll be doing some video. If you want to join, that'd be fantastic for the pregame. I know I've got some other people that was going to jump on for a second as well, but I'd love to have you, Dave.
Yeah, I'll make sure and stop by.
Cool.
I'll bring my giant huzzah sign. Easy way to find me.
Oh, that was you?
That was me.
Okay.
That's me. I'm the giant huzzah guy.
Yeah. All right.
I think took about 20-25 minutes to make.
Okay, cool.
Start selling them out of the back of my van in the parking lot.
Yeah, look at you, capitalist. Good for you. Let's see here. We got at Life University on Saturday, May the 8th at 7 p.m. We've got Rugby ATL. Don't like the name still, but Toronto Arrows. They're going to actually. This is a weird one because it's not at Toronto. It's both teams are in LA right now.
Home match for both. It's like we always liked it when we played other Boston teams. It's good to play out of the big city in the region because half the time you don't even actually have to travel at the club level. So
True.
Toronto and Atlanta both enjoying that a little bit, where everybody's playing functionally at home. Home match for Toronto technically, but obviously they're in Atlanta's backyard there in Life. So
I think I said LA, but I just have LA on the mind. Some people call it jealousy. Maybe not me. Okay, moving right along here. We've got the next game at 10 p.m. Eastern time on FS2. Yikes.
Yeah, that's a late night.
We've got Old Glory DC against Utah Warriors in Utah there. And so this is interesting. All of the teams are playing this week. That we've had weeks previously with certain teams, but it seems like everybody's playing this weekend. On Sunday, May the 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern time, we've got the LA I'm not going to say it. LA against New Jersey at New Jersey in Jersey City, and we've got San Diego Legion against Seattle Seawolves and at Seattle on Sunday as well. So, all right, I'm going to stop sharing the screen here. There we go. Here we are again. All right, so let's get down to business here. The best game of the week, of course, was the New England Free Jacks against the San Diego Legion. That was 33-17. Guess who predicted one of the final scores there correctly? That was me.
Nice job.
I nailed the San Diego score of 17, and the player of the week was just announced prior to us recording, John Poland. Way to go, Johnny, 2 tries. We appreciate you. What did I write down? So we talked about Mr. Wuching just having a day probably and not being tackled at certain points. He broke the gain line. He had all the gains. He was recruited as a running back there at Washington, and you can tell that he was recruited as a running back. My musket-sized pants tent goes to Mr. Wuching this week. What a player. Would love to have him on the Free Jacks, but he tore us up. Interestingly enough, man of the match, but for a losing team.
Yeah, you don't see that too often. He definitely did. He did his best to put an injured team on his back, and that's something worth respect. You can tell that he enjoys running the ball. That's fun. He's having fun out there.
Oh, yeah.
And, those guys are the guys who bring a little something extra, I think.
Mhm.
They work. Everybody works hard. Never want to question that effort that those guys put out there. But when you're enjoying it like he does, you can dig a little deeper, I think.
For sure.
And you see it in the creativity where he'll go any direction, and he's always looking for support and to support. So
Yeah.
just a real fun player to watch.
Absolutely. He did have one error in the game where he kind of got stripped of the ball and we advanced that for an eventual try. But other than that, pretty dang good performance there. I would have
Yep.
given the man of the match to the winning team. We had we had multiple people with multiple tries. So,
Yeah.
that's just the Free Jacks fan of me saying we were kind of like robbed. When that was announced, I was like, what are you talking about? They didn't
Yeah.
win the game, but it is what it is. A couple quick points here. I did write down a couple. I've got a couple of more sticky notes here about this. I noticed that the rush defense was quick off the line for us. I think defense was a huge factor in us winning the game.
Yeah, and it really hurts kind of a broken offense like they had to run with the early injury to the fly half, and the cards kind of play into our defense's hands in that circumstance, I think. And so that's what we saw, really, that rush defense. If you need an extra split second to make a decision because you're just coming in 5 minutes into the match, getting settled, it really is going to punish you. I think that's what we saw.
Discipline rearing its ugly head for us again at the 32nd minute. Although I will brag on us a little bit here, our defense came up big before the end of the half and not conceding any points whatsoever. So that's always a good thing.
Yep.
San Diego had so many turnovers, I noticed in the game here. They kind of shot themselves in the foot. And there was a try for San Diego that was clearly not a try. And the MLR All Access show even went so far as not even showing that highlight of that try. They were just
Oh
like,
wow, that's
yeah,
interesting.
we're not going to show this. They said something along the lines of, there was a try, but we're not going to show it. Something
Yeah,
along those.
as the one of the broadcasters said, in the, I think it was Dallin, said in the broadcast, try awarded are the most important words. That's what matters. That's what San Diego's gonna put in their pocket. But yeah, it was a little bit of a knock there. It'd be interesting to take a look at. I think that it's probably not an edge case. I think under close replay, and looking, you'd see it was probably a knock. But I will say that sometimes it can be easy to look for reasons not to allow a try, as a fan, even a neutral fan.
Yeah,
It's more fun to pick it apart and say, oh, because I can see that it was leaving the palm of your hand and only your fingertips. But the law is written pretty favorably to allow you to score in a very extended manner.
sure.
That said, I think the ball left his hands. I think it was a little bit of I think it's a drop.
And I think all of our guys, I mean, obviously we're going to, say something if it's like a 50-50 situation, but all of our guys that were clearly looking at what happened, all look at the referee and said, it was a knock on.
Right.
So it's amazing. I mean, the referee had a great view of it. I just don't, a split second decision there. He probably wants to take that one back, but
Yeah, and it's the sort of thing that there are going to be those calls that in real time look fine, and it's only on replay that you see that it's not. And I think the try score does get a lot of benefit of the doubt in that case. It's one of the only times you're going to get the benefit of the doubt on whether you knock the ball or not. We tell players all the time, if the ball leaves your hands and goes down, you should expect to be called for a knock, even if it's straight down or marginally backwards. You've made a mistake and you're likely to be punished for it. And that gets flipped a little bit on try scoring, I think, where it's more that the instead of looking for a reason not to call it a knock, the referee is looking for a reason not to call it a try. And if it looks pretty good, they're going to call it a try.
33 points offensively, looked like a powerhouse. But, as I was saying earlier, the defense was the big factor in the game, I think. They really, stomped out San Diego. Waka made a beautiful open field tackle to stop a try. I don't remember exactly when the minute marker was on that, but I remember clearly thinking, oh, they're going to score here if he doesn't stop him. And by God, he did.
Yeah, he's like a hunting predator out there in the backfield. It's a really good feeling to have as much confidence in him as you can have.
Absolutely. What else we got here? 21 points after 16 minutes. I thought we were LA for a second. It was incredible. Uh,
Yeah,
I even posted
very
on
good.
Facebook, like, look at us. How about it? Yeah. Billy actually kicked the ball at one point, so that was pretty cool.
He did. Yep, front rowers putting the laces on it.
Yeah. San Diego looked rattled after that 16-minute mark. They just, I think they were a little uh, nervous about what was going on. And I think Brian Hightower was the guy that mentioned comedy of errors on the broadcast there that San Diego was having.
It was tough, those mistakes really start to mount sometimes, and you can really feel like you're taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, especially with as much as New England was poaching the ball, as you mentioned. It's very, very, very tough to put together much offense when you can't even string together more than 3 or 4 possessions.
If I had to, provide some feedback for the Free Jacks about the game, I would say lineouts need to be a lot better. There was a couple there at the beginning, especially where it didn't look good. I think there was some turnovers from that and some not straight balls thrown in the channel.
Yeah, yeah. Vili seemed to be settling in a little bit, and broadcasters mentioned, he is a converted flanker. It's a learnable skill. When I was coaching, I had a player who came down from Portland, down to our club in Boston, and he had played in the centers. And we happened to have 4 or 5 really, really talented centers, including some younger guys who were learning the position and needed development time. And he looked at that. He joined, I think, in the spring, and he didn't get a lot of time on the field, even though he was a talented athlete. And then he came back in the fall and he said, "Hey, just so you know, I taught myself to throw and I'm a hooker now." And damn if he wasn't a great hooker. He took the starting hooker spot, he converted and throwing. Obviously, this is, Division III club rugby. It's not quite the same as MLR, but his throwing was fantastic, was never a problem at all. So it's a very learnable skill. I'm sure that he's got the coaching available if he needs it.
Yeah.
My guess is we just had a little bit of an off day. It's tough to step in and hit that many reps in a row, like you have to hit in a match. So I would expect that the throw to improve pretty quickly. We do need that attacking platform. The line out is a supreme attacking platform for any team.
Crucial.
And you've got to be able to convert deep lineouts into points consistently.
Especially if you're within their 22, what you want to do is get that ball and maul it in. Especially if you're at the 5. I mean, if you're at the 5, you've got to maul it in. But if you're throwing the ball not straight or the other team steals it, it's a momentum killer.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen that the Free Jacks have that, Ryan Martin, Razzmatazz. They've got some really nice, tricky little lineout plays up their sleeve too. We've seen 1 or 2 so far. So always fingers crossed to see more of those.
Who's your MVP of the match?
I'm gonna cheat and pick a forward and a back.
Oh, okay.
This is how we always did our man of the match, or very frequently we'd pick a forward and a back for each team. Once you get to the third half back at the bar, and I'm going to say for the forwards, Wian Conradi, he did setting up Poland's first try. He eats a Sam Wuching hit and then gets the offload really clean to Poland, who then takes the inside line off the scrum, cutting back in and taking advantage of Tamalau not quite being there to cover. And he also, in Fife's second try, was the link as we had the chain of Fife to Conradi to Fife, where Fife got the ball at 13, made a little darting attack, offloaded to Conradi, who went in and again ate a tackler, just absorbed the man absorbed the man out of the defensive line, clean offload back to Fife, and another try scored. In addition to what is always great defensive work from Conradi. So forwards, I'm going to give it to Wian Conradi. Backs, it's got to be John Poland. The guy is on fire. Really consistent off the rucks. Scored 2 tries. He's doing everything you need a 9 to do. The guy can do it all. He can place kick. He can box kick. He gets you quick ball. He likes to run the ball. It's great to have a 9 who is going to take the gaps that you give him. It just opens up more and more opportunities for the offense. So John Poland, absolutely my back man of the match, MVP.
Very nice. Conradi, also laid that hit on the 10 that knocked that
Yes.
out. Obviously,
Yeah, a very good clean hit as well. I'll note,
exactly.
like it injured him. Never root for injuries. Hope he does well, recovers quickly.
Exactly.
But it did give us an advantage for the next 75 minutes in the match.
Yep.
And it was big. It was a big clean hit. That's what you want out of a back rower.
That's exactly what you want to see from an 8-man or any player on the rugby pitch, is laying big hits. And it changed the game for us for sure. John Poland, I had an interview that has yet to be on a podcast with one of our buddies in the supporters group. I'm not going to name him yet because the absolute has not come out, but he was talking about how great John Poland is. And we don't give him a lot of praise per se. He's not one of our star players, but I think that just comes down to him being so consistent. It's not obvious when he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. We just expect him to do his job. But guess what? When people make mistakes, you hone in on that. But we can't do that with him because he's so consistently good at what he does. There's not a flashiness to what he does. He just distributes the ball exactly how he's supposed to. His box kicks are just fine. That's exactly what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. He really clicks well with this team. He unlocks a lot of the potential we have. Chasing those box kicks and putting teams under pressure using our defense. That's, that pressure and those turnovers are possible because of his really excellent kicking, pinning guys along the sidelines. I mean, watch where those kicks land. He drops those guys, in dangerous waters right by the touchline. He puts them under pressure even before the defense gets there, just to make a clean gather and then not to get taken into touch. It's a really, really strong weapon. And that's just one of the things he does. He's also a great tackler. 9s have to be really comfortable tackling forwards. It's something that they end up doing more than other back players. The 9 is also the guy that gets, he's the honorary forward. All the forwards, they've got the 9's back 100%. He's one of us. So that's one of the reasons you see those guys doing that, and JP can do it.
For sure. And again, awarded player of the week by MLR. So, league is taking notice of how good John Poland is. All right. So we're moving right along here to our match this weekend. A little analysis from us against the other Gilchrist twin, as I like to call them.
The two-headed dragon.
Yeah. The Austin, as Spider says, jabronis. All right, so
I don't think anybody even calls them the Gilgronis even more. Even broadcasters, you mostly are going to hear Austin, which makes sense.
Yeah, AGs is another.
AGs, yeah.
Coming off of a bye week for them, so they're rested and recovered. So that's one thing that we might have a factor in the game, is that these guys are fresh, and they've had an extra week to plan for us.
Yeah. So, they'll be prepared. And exactly. They're a team that prepares well. One of the best defenses in the league, bar none. The match everybody's really looking forward to around the league is the Austin LA match, because they want to see the best offense and the best defense. Austin are pretty scary on the opposite side of the ball. They, like the Free Jacks, are very comfortable playing D. They have averaged just under 15 points scored against them so far each week.
That's really
that's very, very low. They are a team that is difficult to score any points against, even penalty points.
Yeah, I wrote down great defense because I know that you were singing their praises in the defensive part of the game here last week when you were talking about the possibility of this team being the team that could beat their twin LA.
Yep. We're not going to get a lot of help from cards. They have the fewest cards of any team in the league as well. So I would not expect. We've seen a lot of cards at MLR, which I think is good. Actually, it means that the referees are comfortable managing the match and are feeling empowered by the league. So I think it's actually a pretty good sign. There is a lot of ill discipline around the league. Probably a lot of cards are deserved. right? So if a lot of cards are needed, a lot of cards should be given. And they're not going to Austin. They're going to everybody else.
Right.
So the set piece should be.
To be fair, they're going to us.
They're going to us. Yeah, we have the preponderance of cards.
Yeah.
Picking one up every week. We got a collection.
Yep.
But we'll see. We need to not get carded. That's not my key for the match. But we playing against a team like that, you can't give up. The one man advantage. Those 10 minutes can be crucial when all points are precious when you're playing a team like Austin.
I'm glad you mentioned key to the game because that is the next part here that we're coming up to. I'll go first.
All right.
I think you went first last week. Lineouts need to be better. Let's see some attacking lineouts that are executed well and score some running maul tries. That would be great.
Nice.
Rolling. Let me see here. In fact, I just wanted to mention this. The Free Jacks just posted a video today of their backs practicing lineouts. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't. I missed that.
So, and I think it said
there's your total rugby.
Yeah. It said challenge accepted, I believe, was the caption there. So
I love it.
I mean, obviously, you know this as being a player, a former player, coach, myself, a former player. The backs and the forwards have a little bit of a rivalry.
That's true.
Single team.
Absolutely. It's usually friendly. The forwards get made fun of for things like smelling bad and not knowing how to read. Although there's always the one philosopher prop.
Right.
The guy who's got like his doctorate degree,
Sure.
And it's like, yes, I just come here for, the energy.
Right.
But yeah, with the forwards make fun of the backs for, having hair gel in during matches,
Yep.
clean jerseys,
wearing flashy boots.
Yeah, dropping the ball and making us scrum, the perennial joke you hear a million times.
Yeah. So what's your key to the game, my friend?
My key to the game is the Free Jacks need to do what they do best, which is score early, get that early lead, and then manage the game by beating Austin in turnovers.
Okay, I like
that. If they can do that, I think that they can do it. You're going to need a lot of chances to beat a good defense, and you're going to generate those chances with those turnovers. So if we can take an early lead and then just manage our way to victory, I think that's our best shot.
Amen. Hopefully we'll be able to do that and execute these things well. I actually forgot to write down a prediction, so I just did it just while you were talking. Right. So I'll let you go first to just finalize my prediction here.
I think that we are going to see the Austin wall, as it were, hold pretty strong. I don't think the Free Jacks are going to score too much, so I'm going to say Free Jacks 17, Austin 14.
Ooh, okay. All right, I'm going with a theme of a low-scoring game compared to what we've seen in our offensive explosion in MLR. Yep. So I just wrote down Free Jacks 21, AGs 17. The Jabronis losing the game.
You love to see it. I hope we get to.
From our lips to God's ears. Let's hope we win this one again. I mean, I want to be atop of the East for the rest of the year. That would be fantastic. Let's do it in this game. All due respect to our buddies in the Eastern Conference. We love all the teams. Actually, I don't, but we want them to do well as a franchise, yada, yada. But I want them to lose this week and us win so we can go atop the Eastern Conference. That would be amazing.
Right. We want them to be happy, to be healthy, and to lose every match they play from here on out.
Amen. All right. So that is it for these segments that I have here with Dave. Dave, again, a pleasure as always.
Thank you very much. Shout out to Kenny Hanakiyama, first try for the Free Jacks. Wearing the T-shirt. Everybody loves him. The Japanese legend.
Our boy. Yep. So 2 words. 1, 2, 3. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.